Hey guys, welcome back to the compound. Today we'll be tackling another dino from the Jurassic World Dominion line, and that dino is this extremely yellow and cartoony looking Skorpiovenator. Now, despite his cartoony appearance, I do believe with a little paint and some rule of cool, we can make this guy look pretty fierce. So I picked him up a few weeks ago and he's been sitting on my shelf, and I've been trying to think of what deco to put on him, trying to get inspired and stuff like that. So I started to sort of study his overall appearance to try and get some inspiration. And you know, he has this extremely massive head and it looks like he could gulp down some smaller dinos pretty easy, and that's when the idea hit me. I would take inspiration from the unreleased Series 2 Gulper Rex from the Kenner line, which has always reminded me of a Caiman lizard with the green body and the reddish orange head. So that is the deco I'm going to be doing today. That should be fairly easy to do and look pretty good on this guy. I'll be using a mix of airbrushing and dry brushing to get the colors down, but if you're painting along, use whatever you have access to. So with all that said, grab your brushes and let's get started. So I'm going to start off first with my airbrush. I'm going to lay down a white undercoat on his head. That way when I lay down my orange, it pops and sticks out nice and bright. With the white done, I'll start to lay down my orange base color, and keep in mind if you are painting by hand, just remember to keep that orange thinned down a little. Sometimes orange paints can be a little streaky and chalky depending on the finish you're using. If you're using a matte orange, it can have a little chalky appearance, so just try and keep it thin and apply several thin coats and dry them in between with a heat gun or a hair dryer. With the orange head done, now I'll go in with my dark green base coat and start to lay down a nice thin coat of that. Now I used Createx dark green mixed with some brown and a drop of black to get this nice dark green color, but any kind of dark green paint will work. You just want to make sure it's very dark because this will help with the dry brushing stage to make all those details on the sculpt pop. So the green on the body is done, and I've got some nice dark shaded areas to work with now, and having this dark body base color will help make shadow areas on the body once we start to dry brush the highlights up. So as I've covered before, when dry brushing a particular color, I always like to start with a dark body and then work my way up through the colors from darkest to lightest. So in this case, his body is going to be green, so I want to gently work my way up from a dark green to the lightest green I have. The final green will be applied very lightly as a final highlight color to finish off the body and make all the nice details on the sculpt stick out and pop. And it's an easy way to hit all these scales and ridges without having to spend 2 days painting each one by hand. Nobody's got time for that, especially here at the compound when I have to do a repaint video every week. I try to find the easiest and quickest way to make things look good with very little effort. So there are a few scales I want to pick out on the face real quick. So I have an assortment of different oranges and yellows here, and I'm just randomly picking out a few of the scales, not spending too much time on this. I just want to highlight a couple here and there to break up the skin a little and have some fun with color variation. Now I'm going to quickly jump back over to my airbrush and add a little red ink, and I'm going to use that ink to blend everything together on the head. It'll add some warmth to the skin and also darken up the eye sockets just a hair to add some shading. Now we're at the home stretch, so I'll grab my flesh mix, and that is beige and scarlet red mixed together, and I'll hit the inside of the mouth, the gum line, and the side flaps. I'll then grab some beige mixed with yellow ochre and pick out his teeth. And fortunately, they are kind of big and goofy, so they're really easy to paint. Since the Caiman lizard has those big black creepy eyes, it's only fitting that this guy has those too. I think the big black kind of glossy eyeballs really stick out, and they stand out against the orange head and make him look super cool. I'll then take a little shade wash and wash his teeth and gum line to make them look gritty and gross, and then I'll wipe it off of the top part of the teeth, leaving it down in the recessed areas, and that just adds a little extra grit to this guy. Last thing to do is paint the claws, and nothing fancy here. I'm just going to hit them with some black paint, and then I'll seal him up with some matte varnish, and this guy is ready to rock and roll. And because it's always fun seeing the transformation of a repaint, here is a little before and after shot of Gulper, and he looks 100% better. It's amazing what just a little paint and the rule of cool can do to such a goofy looking dino. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you've learned something from it that you can apply to your repaint game at home. If you give this one a shot, remember to tag me over on Instagram at the Jurassic Park Compound, because I always love to see the stuff that you guys can come up with. For more Jurassic related content, you know where to find me. Links will be in the description box below. You guys take care, and I'll see you around the compound.